pole. Okay, how's that? Yep, okay. It's just me, folks, okay? The dusty old bag of bones, tired old man, okay? All right, there you go, good enough. Thursday, January 18, 2024 on our planet. I hope you're all well and swell. By the way, Paul, the reason why you blocked me, so I asked a question is, since this information is so critical for humanity as a whole, are you going to tell humanity as a whole who can't afford to pay you? For the rest of you good folks. So let's get into the earth changes. I'm going to go through a few areas to start off with all our earthquakes. There is a generalized increase in earthquakes globally, continuing with earthquakes in newer locations where we've never had earthquakes before. Start off in Quebec. Quebec, Canada, there's an increasing in earthquakes, including the same locations as last year's wildfires. By the way, I forgot to mention something in one of my last videos. So a lot of these wildfires, as they started up 10 kilometers wide. And there was about 3 dozen of these. How much accelerants would you need to get into these remote areas where there's no roads, no landing strips? How much accelerant would you need to start these big fires all at the same time? Where is the evidence? To continue. Yes, I would be a little bit concerned about Quebec again this year. Ohio, there's a general increase in earthquakes, especially around the Madison area, but throughout Ohio. Right down to the Pennsylvania border and further almost south to where? Palestine. Train derailment a while ago. Next, English Channel. We had a 3.6 and a 2.9 at only 2 kilometers depth. English Channel. Folks, I forewarned last February or March. I said, expect an increase along the Western European continental shelf area from Norway, England, France, Spain, down to the Strait of Gibraltar. I said, because of all the heat indications showing up. North Sea also had a 4.1 earthquake some time ago this year. Now in the English Channel. Sort of a surprise and not a surprise not to me, because I'm expecting earthquakes in diverse places to include the Arctic, only 300 kilometers from the geographical North Pole. Unless that earthquake was the new geographical North Pole. There's 2. There's a 4.7 and a 4.9 earthquake right on the fracture zone. Very interesting. Expect the unexpected in diverse places. Seismically and heat-wise. The Japan earthquakes. So that last set of Japan's at Wajima. So I've been busy going back on all my earthquake recordings and data. That was, they've had major earthquakes there before. I understand. I didn't have time to follow up on it. I understand there's 58 ports out of commission because of the damage. These are things you need to start thinking about when the catastrophic earthquakes happen. No more airports, no more seaports, no more highways. No way to get the goods and services to other areas of the province or state. Critical infrastructure down. Water lines, gas lines, power lines, etc. Move along. Okay, the Cascadia subduction zone. The Cascadia Range. Now the tremors, I completely ignore. Standard location, standard slow slip event. It gets my attention when the intervals between these events shorten up in time, indicating it's getting closer to a megathrust event. However, the built-up energy is always released offshore. As I say so many times, we like those earthquakes. We want to see those earthquakes there. We don't want to start seeing clusters of earthquakes around the Puget Sound, Seattle, Willamette Peninsula, such as we have been. And the Puget Sound earlier on last year, heat detections. So there's two areas. One is Seattle. Next, Portland. A gradual increase in seismic activity around Portland. There was a report of steam leaking out of the ground. Geology Hub actually covered that one, and apparently it was a fractured steam pipe. Buried, fractured steam pipe. Of course, the question is, how did it get fractured? So two areas of note are North Cascadia, which is, well, the focal point is between Victoria, British Columbia, and Seattle. One moment. So, I did this a while ago. See if I can do it right without practicing. So my pencils are the Cascadia subduction zone. This side here is the north end, Seattle, Victoria. This side here is Redding, California, Medford, southwest Oregon. If we have tremors here, stress. If we have tremors here, stress. What do you think is going to happen with that stress if we all of a sudden have stress on both sides? What's in the middle? Oregon. Is this why about maybe 4 years ago they had a large earthquake drill called Cascadia Rising for Oregon? That's Oregon. I could be wrong, but you know what? Heightened awareness is warranted. Coastal inundation events are wrapping up. So as Mr. John Moore, the Liberty Man, states, expect the coastal inundation of the waters. I'm also going to refer you to a couple of the Marian apparitions. So 3 have been approved by the church. Fatima, 1917. Japan, 1973. Silhouette, 1846. September 1846. I'm just going to quote a couple. This is an original written text quote for the third secret of Fatima. The water of the ocean shall become vapors, and foams will rise up, flooding and sinking everything. Millions and millions of people will die by the hour. A person asked in 1980, asked Pope John Paul II He was asked, why was the third secret of Fatima kept a secret? His response was, and I quote, "It should be sufficient for all of Christians to know this. If there is a message in which it is written, the oceans will flood whole areas of the earth, in that from one moment to the next, millions of people will perish. Truly, the publication of such a message is no longer something to be much desired." Let's go through a couple of the apparition of La Salette in France in September 19, 1846. Item 26. The seasons will be altered. The earth will provide nothing but bad fruit. The stars will lose their regular motion. The moon will only reflect a faint reddish glow. Water and fire will give the earth and globe convulsions and terrible earthquakes, which will swallow up mountains, cities, etc. End quote. That apparition actually names the two witnesses in tribulation, Enoch and Eli. Enoch you can find in Scripture. I believe it's in Ezekiel. One of the two witnesses. Next are jet streams. Our jet streams are really, it's like they're fighting to change from west to east flow, from down to north to south flow. It looks like they're trying to change that way, for the northern hemisphere at least. And as I stated previously, I'm really going to be watching fire for the start of wildfires. The wildfires last year started in Alberta. It started at the fracking sites, because there's a great many perforations already through the crust to release the heat. I'm not making a video yet, but in Alberta, not far from Fox Creek, there's a 3-kilometer spread of very hot heat indications around the fracking pads. I've searched the local newsprint. I can't find any indication of a controlled burn. I checked the government website. I cannot find any authorized control burns. It may very well be a great many slash piles being burned off, but I checked the local webcams. I can't see any smoke. So that's all I'm going to say on that for now. The earth signs. Our sun has given us a break. Sol is taking a rest. I'm quite sure Sal will be filling in for her. I'm not going to get so excited like Paul did on that 6.4 earthquake in the Tonga Island regions. If a week goes by and there isn't substantial earthquakes there, that gets my attention. There's always large earthquakes. Fiji, Tonga Island region. Always. It's not a big deal. Finally, hey Jesse, I got one for you. You said that you don't believe in Cell because you can't see it, because you can't see any pictures. I ask you this question, Jesse. Do you believe in God? What does he look like? Give us your visualization and picture of what God looks like. You're a highly religious person, but you don't believe in this because you haven't seen pictures of it, but you believe in God. I think that's about it. So yes, seismically, there's been a substantial increase globally. Don't be surprised to see earthquakes in diverse places, such as it's mentioned in Matthew 24. Get my eye on you, Paul.